Have you ever found yourself wondering why certain things never seem to work out, no matter how hard you tried? Perhaps it was a relationship that slowly slipped away despite your deepest efforts to save it. Perhaps it was an opportunity you believed would change your life, only to watch it disappear at the last moment. Or maybe it was a dream you carried for years that somehow never became reality. In those moments, the mind naturally asks painful questions. Why did this happen? What did I do wrong? Why does life seem to give others what they desire while leaving me empty-handed? These questions have echoed through countless human hearts for centuries, and they arise because we often believe that happiness depends on obtaining exactly what we want. Yet the Buddha offered a very different perspective, one that has the power to transform the way we see every disappointment, every delay, and every unexpected turn in life. The Buddha taught that much of our suffering does not come from losing something, it comes from believing that it was supposed to belong to us forever. We become attached not only to people and possessions, but also to our expectations. We create detailed stories about how life should unfold, when certain things should happen, and who should remain beside us. When reality follows a different path, we immediately experience frustration, sadness, or fear. The pain feels as though it has been caused by life itself, but often it is created by the gap between reality and the story we insisted upon believing. This is why two people can experience the same loss and respond in completely different ways. One becomes trapped in resentment, while the other gradually discovers acceptance. The difference is not the event itself, it is the relationship each person has with what they expected life to be. Imagine trying to hold onto the flowing water of a river. The tighter you close your hands, the faster the water slips away. The river was never meant to be captured. Its nature is to flow. Life follows a similar rhythm. People enter our lives, seasons change, opportunities appear and disappear, and circumstances constantly evolve. Yet the human mind longs for certainty. It wants every joyful moment to last forever, and every painful moment to disappear immediately. This desire to control what is naturally changing becomes one of the greatest sources of suffering. The Buddha did not teach people to stop caring about life. He taught them to stop fighting the nature of life itself. Many of us spend years chasing things because we believe they will finally make us feel complete. We chase recognition, believing that success will bring lasting peace. We chase relationships, believing another person will remove every feeling of loneliness. We chase wealth, status, and achievement, hoping that once we reach a certain destination, we will finally be able to rest. But every time we arrive, the mind quietly creates another destination. The search continues because the problem was never the destination. It was the belief that fulfillment existed somewhere outside ourselves. The Buddha gently reminded us that a restless mind will continue searching even after receiving everything it once desired. Without inner peace, no external achievement can satisfy the heart for long.
There is another reason we suffer when life does not follow our plans. We assume that we can see the entire picture, when in reality we see only a small part of it. Imagine reading a single page from a long and beautiful book. If that page contains sadness, you might believe the entire story ends in tragedy. But the pages that follow may reveal unexpected joy, wisdom, and healing. Life often unfolds in the same way. We judge today's disappointment without knowing what tomorrow may bring. The opportunity that never arrived may have protected us from a path that would have caused greater suffering. The relationship that ended may have prepared our hearts for a deeper kind of love. The door that closed may have quietly guided us toward another one we could not yet see. What feels like loss in one season often becomes gratitude in another. This is why Buddhist wisdom encourages patience. Patience is not passive waiting. It is the quiet confidence that life does not need to unfold according to our timetable in order to unfold wisely. Every seed grows at its own pace. No gardener stands over the soil demanding that a flower bloom before its season arrives. They water it, care for it, and trust the natural process. Yet when it comes to our own lives, we often expect immediate answers. We become discouraged when our plans take longer than expected, forgetting that some of the most meaningful transformations require time. The Buddha understood that wisdom develops slowly, just as a mighty tree begins as a tiny seed hidden beneath the earth. Perhaps one of the most comforting truths in Buddhist teaching is that not everything we lose is truly meant to remain with us, and not everything delayed has been denied forever. Some experiences are lessons. Some people are companions for only part of the journey. Some dreams quietly prepare us for even greater ones we cannot yet imagine. When we stop measuring life only by what we gain or lose, we begin noticing something much deeper. Every experience, whether joyful or painful, is shaping the person we are becoming. Instead of asking why certain things never stayed, we begin asking what they came to teach us. That simple shift changes disappointment into wisdom and uncertainty into trust. The journey toward inner peace begins the moment we loosen our grip on the belief that we must force life to unfold according to our own plans. When we stop chasing every closed door and every fading opportunity, we create space for something far greater than our expectations. We create space for wisdom, for acceptance, and for the quiet realization that what is truly meant for us does not need to be pursued with fear. It arrives through the natural unfolding of causes and conditions, often at the exact moment we are finally ready to receive it. If there is one teaching that lies at the heart of Buddhism, it is this: attachment is the root of much of our suffering. At first, this idea may sound surprising because we often associate attachment with love, ambition, or commitment. We believe that holding on tightly is a sign of how deeply we care. Yet the Buddha invited us to look more carefully. He showed that suffering does not arise because we love people or pursue meaningful goals. It arises when we become convinced that our happiness depends entirely on keeping those people, goals, or outcomes exactly as we want them. The moment we believe we cannot be at peace without a certain person, a certain opportunity, or a certain future, fear quietly enters the heart. From that moment on, we are no longer simply living. We are constantly worrying about losing what we have or failing to obtain what we desire. Think about how often the mind says, "I will be happy when. I will be happy when I find the right relationship. I will be happy when I earn more money. I will be happy when people recognize my efforts. I will be happy when life finally goes according to my plans." There is always another condition waiting just beyond the present moment. Even when one desire is fulfilled, another quickly takes its place. The mind rarely stops to appreciate what already exists because it has been trained to believe that fulfillment is always somewhere ahead. The Buddha recognized this endless cycle thousands of years ago. He understood that a mind driven by craving can never truly rest because it is always searching for the next reason to feel complete. Imagine chasing your own shadow across an open field. No matter how fast you run, the shadow remains just out of reach. The harder you chase it, the more exhausted you become. Then, the moment you stop running and simply stand still, you realize the shadow has been with you all along. Happiness often works in much the same way. We spend years chasing external circumstances, believing they will finally give us peace, while overlooking the quiet peace that can only be discovered within ourselves. This does not mean we should stop pursuing meaningful goals or stop caring about our dreams. It means we stop believing that our entire identity depends upon achieving them. One of the greatest illusions created by attachment is the belief that we can control everything around us. We make careful plans for the future, expecting life to unfold exactly as we imagine. But life has always been uncertain. People change, circumstances shift, opportunities appear and disappear without warning. The more tightly we cling to certainty, the more painful these changes become. Buddhist wisdom does not ask us to stop planning. It simply reminds us that planning and controlling are not the same thing. We can prepare with wisdom while still accepting that the final outcome is not entirely within our hands. There is tremendous freedom in doing your best while releasing the need to control every result. Think of an archer preparing to shoot an arrow. The archer can choose a good bow, practice carefully, aim with complete attention, and release the arrow with skill. But once the arrow leaves the string, many things are beyond the archer's control. The wind may change, the target may move, unexpected conditions may appear. The wise archer focuses on the quality of the effort rather than becoming consumed by the result. In the same way, the Buddha encouraged us to focus on our intentions, our actions, and our character, instead of allowing every outcome to determine our peace. When we live this way, success no longer fills us with arrogance, and failure no longer destroys our confidence. Both become teachers instead of masters. Many of life's greatest disappointments are actually invitations to let go of attachment. At first, they feel like punishment. A relationship ends, and we wonder why we were abandoned. A career opportunity disappears, and we question our abilities. A long-held dream falls apart, and we feel as though life has betrayed us. Yet, as the years pass, many people look back and realize that what once felt like their greatest loss quietly became the beginning of something far better. The person who left created space for healthier relationships. The opportunity that disappeared led to a path they never would have discovered otherwise. The dream that failed helped them become wiser, humbler, and stronger than success alone ever could. Life often reveals its meaning only after we have stopped resisting it. The Buddha never promised that letting go would be easy. He understood that the human heart naturally clings to what feels familiar. But he also knew that every time we loosen our grip on what we cannot control, we create space for peace to enter. Instead of asking why life is not following our plans, we begin trusting that every experience has something valuable to teach us. We stop measuring every event as either good or bad, because we recognize that today's disappointment may become tomorrow's blessing. Quietly, almost without noticing, the struggle begins to fade. We continue walking through life with hope, effort, and compassion, but we no longer carry the exhausting burden of believing that everything must happen exactly as we imagined. And in that quiet surrender, we discover that peace was never found in controlling life's journey. It was found in learning how to walk through it with an open heart. One of the hardest lessons to accept is that life moves according to its own rhythm, not ours. We want answers immediately. We want opportunities to arrive when we are ready for them. We want the people we love to remain with us forever. When reality unfolds differently, impatience quietly takes over. We begin wondering whether we are falling behind while everyone else is moving ahead. The mind compares timelines, celebrates other people's success while questioning its own journey, and slowly begins believing that something must be wrong. Yet the Buddha reminded us that every living thing unfolds according to causes and conditions. Nothing meaningful appears before the conditions are ready, and nothing can be forced into existence simply because we wish it to happen sooner. Look at nature for a moment. A farmer plants seeds in the spring, but he does not return the next morning expecting a full harvest. He understands that growth requires sunlight, rain, fertile soil, and time. No amount of frustration will make the crops mature overnight. If he digs up the seed every few days to check whether it has begun growing, He will only destroy the very life he hoped to cultivate. Yet this is exactly how many of us treat our own lives. We plant a dream, then become anxious because results do not appear immediately. We begin doubting ourselves, changing direction, or giving up completely, forgetting that some of the most beautiful things in life require patience before they can bloom. The Buddha taught that every experience arises through the law of cause and effect. Every thought, every action, and every decision quietly shapes the future. This does not mean that life is rigidly predetermined. It means that what appears in our lives is influenced by countless conditions, many of which are beyond our immediate awareness. We often see only one small piece of a much larger picture. Because of this limited perspective, we mistake delays for failure and close doors for permanent endings. But wisdom invites us to pause before reaching those conclusions. What seems like an obstacle today may actually be preparing us for something we are not yet able to understand. Think back to a time when you desperately wanted something that never happened. Perhaps you wanted a particular job, a relationship, or an opportunity that seemed absolutely perfect. At the time, losing it felt devastating. But years later, after life continued unfolding, you may have realized that what you once considered a tragedy quietly became one of your greatest blessings. The path you eventually followed introduced you to people you never would have met otherwise. It taught you lessons you could not have learned through comfort alone. It shaped the person you are today. If your original plan had succeeded exactly as you imagined, your life might have been entirely different. This is why Buddhist wisdom encourages humility. We simply do not know enough about the future to judge every event the moment it happens. Modern life makes trusting the timing of life especially difficult. We live in a culture that celebrates speed. We expect instant replies, instant success, and instant solutions. Social media constantly shows us people reaching milestones that make us question our own progress. Someone buys a house. Someone starts a successful business. Someone gets married. Someone travels the world. The mind quietly whispers that we should already be there too. But every person's journey is shaped by different experiences, different challenges, and different karma. Comparing your timeline to someone else's is like comparing the sunrise to the blooming of a flower. Both are beautiful, but neither is meant to happen at the same moment. Imagine standing beside a river during the early morning. The water does not rush because it envies another river. It simply continues flowing according to its own course, moving around rocks, nourishing the land, and eventually reaching the ocean. Life invites us to do the same. Instead of forcing every outcome, we learn to keep moving with patience, trusting that each step has value, even when the destination is not yet visible. The river never wastes energy wishing it were somewhere else. It simply embraces the path unfolding before it. There is deep wisdom in that quiet acceptance. Trusting life's timing does not mean becoming passive or abandoning your dreams. The Buddha never encouraged laziness or indifference. Instead, he taught wholehearted effort without attachment to immediate results. Continue planting good seeds through kindness, honesty, discipline, and compassion. Continue learning, growing, and improving yourself every day. But release the constant pressure to know exactly when every reward will arrive. Some seeds bloom quickly, while others remain beneath the soil for a very long time before breaking through the surface. Both are growing, even if one cannot yet be seen. Perhaps this is one of the greatest acts of faith we can practice. Not faith that everything will happen exactly as we want, but faith that life continues unfolding through wisdom even when we cannot yet understand its direction. Every delay teaches patience. Every challenge develops resilience. Every unexpected turn carries a lesson that becomes clear only with time. When we stop resisting the pace of our journey, we begin appreciating it. We discover that peace is not found by arriving somewhere else. It is found by trusting each step exactly where we are. And when that trust quietly takes root in the heart, we no longer fear what has not yet arrived, because we understand that what is truly meant for us cannot pass us by before the right time. Few experiences hurt more deeply than rejection. Whether it comes from a relationship, a career opportunity, a friendship, or a dream we held close to our hearts, rejection often feels deeply personal. The mind immediately begins searching for explanations. It asks what we did wrong, why we were not enough, and what we could have changed to make someone choose us. These questions seem natural, yet they often lead us further away from peace. Instead of seeing rejection as one moment in a much larger journey, we begin allowing it to define our identity. The Buddha gently reminded us that no single event has the power to determine our worth. What creates suffering is not rejection itself, but the story we continue telling ourselves long after the moment has passed. One of the greatest mistakes we make is assuming that every closed door is a punishment. We believe that if something does not happen the way we planned, life must somehow be working against us. But wisdom invites us to consider another possibility. What if some closed doors are actually forms of protection? What if life sometimes removes us from situations that would have caused greater suffering had they continued? At the moment of loss, we rarely have enough perspective to understand why something happened. We see only today's disappointment, not tomorrow's opportunity. This is why the Buddha encouraged patience and non-attachment. He knew that the mind often judges too quickly without seeing the larger picture. Imagine a traveler walking through a dense forest. The path ahead suddenly becomes blocked by a fallen tree. Frustrated, the traveler complains that the journey has been ruined and begins searching for another way forward. Hours later, after taking a different trail, the traveler discovers a beautiful valley that would never have been found otherwise. Had the original path remained open, that hidden place would have been missed entirely. Life often works in a similar way. The opportunity you lost may have redirected you towards something far more meaningful. The relationship that ended may have protected you from years of unhappiness. The dream that failed may have created space for a purpose you had never imagined. Looking backward, many people realize that the moments they once considered their greatest failures quietly became the turning points that changed their lives. The Buddha taught that everything arises through causes and conditions. Because we cannot see every condition shaping our future, we should be careful about labeling experiences as purely good or purely bad. A setback may become a lesson. A delay may become preparation. A painful goodbye may become the beginning of a healthier chapter. This understanding does not remove the pain of rejection, but it changes the way we carry it. Instead of asking, "Why is this happening to me?" we begin asking, "What is this experience trying to teach me?" That simple shift transforms suffering into growth. It turns disappointment into an opportunity for wisdom rather than resentment. Think about a sculptor creating a beautiful statue from a large block of stone. Every strike of the chisel removes something. If the stone could speak, it might believe it was being damaged. It would not understand that each piece being carved away was revealing the masterpiece hidden within. Our lives often unfold the same way. Loss removes attachments. Failure removes arrogance. Rejection removes illusions. These experiences are painful, but they also shape qualities that comfort and success alone could never develop. Patience, humility, resilience, compassion, and inner strength are often born through the very moments we once wished had never happened. There is another quiet gift hidden inside rejection. It gradually teaches us where our true value comes from. When every door opens easily, it is tempting to believe our worth depends upon success. But when we face rejection and continue treating ourselves with kindness, we discover something much deeper. Our value has never depended on whether one person chooses us, whether one employer hires us, or whether one opportunity works out. Those events may influence the direction of our lives, but they cannot define the person we are. The Buddha encouraged people to root their confidence in wisdom and compassion because those qualities remain with us regardless of external circumstances. Once you understand this, rejection loses much of its power. It may still hurt, but it no longer has the ability to convince you that you are not enough. As the years pass, many people discover that the experiences they fought against the hardest eventually became the ones they appreciated the most. They realize that if every wish had been granted immediately, they might never have become the person they needed to be. Life was not taking something away from them. It was preparing them for something they could not yet see. This is why trust becomes such an important part of the Buddhist path. Trust does not mean believing that everything will always feel easy. It means believing that every experience can contribute to wisdom if we are willing to learn from it. And when we finally stop resisting every closed door, we begin noticing something remarkable. Life is no longer asking us to chase every opportunity. Instead, it is quietly inviting us to become the kind of person who is ready when the right opportunity naturally arrives. After years of searching for happiness in people, achievements, and perfect circumstances, many eventually reach a quiet realization. The harder they chase, the more exhausted they become. Every goal achieved brings only temporary satisfaction before another desire takes its place. Every relationship they cling to creates another fear of loss. Every success leads to greater pressure to maintain it. Without realizing it, they spend most of their lives running, convinced that peace is waiting somewhere just beyond the next destination. The Buddha gently challenged this way of living. He taught that lasting peace is not found by endlessly chasing life, but by transforming the person who is doing the chasing. When your heart changes, your entire experience of the world changes with it. This is why Buddhist practice always begins within. Before trying to change your circumstances, the Buddha encouraged you to observe your own mind. What are you really searching for? Is it love? Or is it the feeling of being enough? Is it success? Or is it the hope that success will finally silence your self-doubt? Is it wealth? Or is it the desire to feel secure? When we honestly examine our deepest motivations, we often discover that external goals are only symbols of something much deeper. We are not truly chasing money, recognition, or relationships. We are chasing peace. The problem is that peace cannot be permanently found in things that constantly change. Imagine carrying an empty bowl while walking through a heavy rainstorm. You keep trying to catch enough rainwater to satisfy your thirst, but every time you take a drink, the bowl soon becomes empty again. Then someone quietly points toward a fresh mountain spring flowing nearby. The spring never runs dry because it comes from a deeper source. The Buddha wanted us to discover that inner spring. Instead of depending entirely on changing circumstances, we begin cultivating qualities that remain with us wherever we go. Patience does not disappear when circumstances become difficult. Compassion is not taken away by rejection. Wisdom is not destroyed by failure. These are treasures that cannot be stolen because they are developed within the heart itself. When you stop chasing everything outside yourself, something remarkable begins to happen. You become more present. Instead of constantly worrying about the future, you begin appreciating the life unfolding before you. A simple conversation becomes more meaningful. A quiet morning carries unexpected beauty. Gratitude naturally replaces comparison because you are no longer measuring your life against someone else's journey. The mind gradually becomes calmer because it is no longer pulled in 100 different directions by endless desires. This does not mean your dreams disappear. It means your dreams no longer control your peace. There is a quiet confidence that grows when you focus on becoming rather than obtaining. Instead of asking, "What can I gain?" you begin asking, "Who am I becoming through this experience?" Every challenge becomes an opportunity to develop patience. Every disappointment becomes an invitation to strengthen trust. Every difficult relationship teaches compassion, forgiveness, or healthy boundaries. Suddenly, even painful moments carry meaning because they contribute to your inner growth. The Buddha taught that no experience is ever wasted if it helps awaken wisdom. In this way, life itself becomes your greatest teacher. Think of a candle lighting another candle. The first flame loses nothing by sharing its light. In fact, the room becomes brighter because of it. A person who has cultivated inner peace begins living in the same way. They no longer seek constant validation because their worth is not dependent on being noticed. They offer kindness without expecting recognition. They encourage others without feeling threatened by someone else's success. They celebrate life instead of competing with it. This is the quiet strength that naturally appears when you stop trying to prove yourself and simply dedicate yourself to becoming a wiser, kinder human being. The beautiful irony is that many of the things we once chased begin arriving naturally when we stop desperately pursuing them. Healthy relationships are drawn to authenticity rather than desperation. Genuine respect grows from integrity rather than constant self-promotion. Opportunities often appear when preparation quietly meets the right moment. While there are no guarantees in life, one truth remains constant. A peaceful heart makes wiser decisions, healthier relationships, and a more meaningful life possible. Whether or not every dream unfolds exactly as imagined becomes less important because your greatest achievement is no longer something you possess. It is the person you have become. Perhaps that is the deepest message hidden within the Buddha's teachings. Life is not asking you to become someone else in order to deserve happiness. It is inviting you to uncover the wisdom that has always existed beneath fear, attachment, and endless striving. The moment you stop chasing your worth through the changing world, you begin discovering the quiet freedom that has been waiting within you all along. And from that place of inner fullness, trusting the future no longer feels difficult because you understand that whatever is truly meant for you will arrive not because you forced it, but because you became ready to receive it. One of the greatest burdens we carry through life is the belief that we must control everything in order to feel safe. We try to control the future so nothing unexpected happens. We try to control other people's opinions so we will always be accepted. We try to control relationships so no one ever leaves. We even try to control our own emotions, believing that sadness, fear, or uncertainty should never exist. The more we attempt to manage every detail of life, the heavier our hearts become. Instead of experiencing peace, we become trapped in constant anxiety because reality refuses to obey our expectations. The Buddha understood this struggle deeply. He taught that suffering often begins the moment we demand certainty from a world whose very nature is change. Many people confuse letting go with giving up. They imagine that if they stop trying to control every outcome, they will become passive or careless. But Buddhist wisdom teaches something entirely different. Letting go does not mean abandoning responsibility. It means releasing the illusion that you can control everything after you have already done your best. There is a profound difference between acting with wisdom and clinging with fear. Wisdom encourages effort, patience, and right action. Fear insists that everything must unfold according to our plans. One creates peace, the other creates exhaustion. Imagine sailing across a wide ocean. A skilled sailor cannot control the wind, the waves, or the weather. Those forces belong to nature. What the sailor can control is the condition of the boat, the direction of the sail, and the decisions made along the journey. If the sailor spends every moment becoming angry at the wind for changing direction, the voyage becomes miserable. But if the sailor learns to adjust the sails instead of fighting the wind, the same changing conditions become part of the journey rather than obstacles against it. The Buddha encouraged us to live in much the same way. We cannot control everything that happens to us, but we can always choose how we respond. This understanding becomes especially important during difficult seasons of life. When plans suddenly fall apart, our first instinct is often resistance. We ask why this is happening and desperately search for a way to restore everything to the way it once was. Yet life is always moving forward. Every season eventually changes into another. Trying to freeze a single moment is like trying to stop the sun from setting. No amount of effort can prevent the natural movement of time. The more we resist change, the more painful it becomes. Acceptance does not erase grief or disappointment, but it prevents those experiences from becoming endless suffering. Acceptance quietly says, "This is what is happening now. How can I meet this moment with wisdom instead of fear?" Think about a leaf floating gently down a river. It does not struggle against every current or become angry each time the water changes direction. It moves with the flow because resistance would accomplish nothing except unnecessary struggle. Human beings often believe that strength means resisting every challenge with greater force. The Buddha revealed another kind of strength altogether. Sometimes the strongest response is not pushing harder, but relaxing your grip. Sometimes courage is found not in forcing life to match your expectations, but in trusting yourself enough to adapt to whatever arrives. Flexibility is not weakness. It is one of the clearest expressions of wisdom. When you begin letting go of control, something surprising happens. Your relationships become healthier because you stop trying to manage other people's choices. You no longer carry the impossible responsibility of making everyone happy. You speak honestly, act with kindness, and respect the freedom of others to make their own decisions. Some people will stay in your life, while others will leave. Some will understand you, while others never will. Instead of exhausting yourself by trying to change their minds, you quietly return your attention to the one person you can truly guide yourself. This simple shift creates enormous freedom because your peace is no longer held hostage by circumstances outside your control. The same principle applies to your dreams and ambitions. Continue working diligently toward what matters to you. Learn new skills, treat others with integrity, and give your best effort each day. But once you have done everything within your power, allow life to unfold naturally. Trust that every action planted with wisdom becomes a seed, even if the results are not immediately visible. Some seeds bloom quickly. Others remain hidden beneath the soil for months or even years before breaking through the surface. Constantly digging them up to check their progress only interrupts their growth. Patience is itself an act of trust. As your heart becomes more comfortable with uncertainty, fear gradually loses its grip. You realize that peace has never come from knowing exactly what tomorrow will bring. It comes from knowing that whatever tomorrow brings, you can meet it with awareness, compassion, and courage. That is the quiet confidence the Buddha hoped every person would discover. It is not confidence in perfect circumstances. It is confidence in the strength of your own awakened mind. And when that confidence begins to grow, you no longer need to force life into a particular shape. You begin trusting that what is truly meant for you will arrive through the natural unfolding of causes and conditions, exactly when the time is right. As we come to the end of this reflection, take a moment to look back on your own journey. Think about the dreams that never came true, the people who entered your life only to leave, the opportunities that slipped through your hands, and the moments that once felt like unbearable losses. At the time, each experience may have seemed like evidence that life was unfair or that something precious had been taken away forever. Yet if you look closely, you may also notice another story quietly unfolding beneath the surface. Every ending taught you something. Every disappointment strengthened you in ways success never could. Every unexpected detour slowly guided you toward the person you are becoming today. What once appeared to be the wrong path often became the one that led you exactly where you needed to be. The Buddha taught that wisdom grows when we stop resisting reality and begin learning from it. This does not mean pretending that loss does not hurt or that difficult experiences should simply be ignored. Human life will always include moments of sadness, uncertainty, and change. The difference is that an awakened mind no longer allows those moments to become its permanent home. Instead of asking why life refused to follow our plans, we begin asking how each experience can deepen our compassion, strengthen our patience, and expand our understanding. In that simple shift, suffering begins to lose its power because every challenge becomes an opportunity for awakening rather than a reason for despair. One of the greatest gifts we can give ourselves is releasing the belief that we have somehow fallen behind. So many people quietly carry the feeling that everyone else has figured life out while they remain lost. They compare their careers, relationships, achievements, and happiness with the carefully edited lives they see around them. Yet every person is walking a different path, shaped by different causes, different experiences, and different lessons. The flower does not bloom earlier because it envies the tree, and the sunrise does not rush because the moon has already appeared. Nature never compares its seasons because each one arrives exactly when it is meant to. The Buddha encouraged us to bring that same wisdom into our own lives. Your journey does not need to look like anyone else's in order to have meaning. Imagine climbing a mountain covered by morning mist. As you begin the journey, you cannot see the summit. You cannot see every turn in the trail or every obstacle waiting ahead. If you become discouraged simply because the destination remains hidden, you may stop walking altogether. But with every patient step, the path slowly reveals itself. The mist begins to lift. What was once invisible gradually becomes clear. Life often unfolds in exactly this way. We are not meant to see every answer from the beginning. We are simply asked to take the next wise step with faith, knowing that clarity grows through movement rather than certainty. This is why trusting life is not an act of blind optimism. It is an act of wisdom. Trust does not mean believing that everything will happen exactly as you hope. It means believing that no experience is wasted when you meet it with awareness. The opportunities that belong in your life will arrive through the right causes and conditions. The people who are meant to walk beside you will naturally become part of your journey. What leaves your life often creates space for something that could never have entered otherwise. Instead of exhausting yourself by chasing every possibility, you begin focusing on becoming the kind of person who can recognize and appreciate what truly matters when it appears. Perhaps this is the deepest meaning behind the idea that what is truly meant for you will never pass you by. It does not mean that life will always be easy or that every wish will come true. It means that nothing meant to support your growth, your wisdom, and your true path can be stolen simply because someone else moved faster or because your journey took longer than expected. Life is not a race where only the first person to arrive succeeds. It is a path of awakening, and every step taken with mindfulness carries value. When you understand this, jealousy begins to fade, comparison loses its influence, and patience becomes much easier to practice. As you continue your journey, remember that your greatest responsibility is not to force the future into existence. Your responsibility is to care for the present moment with kindness, honesty, and wisdom. Plant good seeds through your words. Plant good seeds through your actions. Plant good seeds through the way you treat yourself and those around you. Then allow life to unfold in its own time. A gardener cannot command a flower to bloom, but by caring for the soil each day, blooming eventually becomes inevitable. Your heart follows the same quiet law. The more you cultivate compassion, gratitude, mindfulness, and inner peace, the more naturally the right people, opportunities, and experiences find their way into your life. So, if today you are carrying disappointment, uncertainty, or fear about what lies ahead, Let this teaching remain with you. Release what was never yours to control. Be grateful for what has shaped you. Trust the lessons hidden inside every delay and every closed door. Keep walking with patience, even when the destination cannot yet be seen. Above all, remember that your peace has never depended on chasing the world. It has always been waiting quietly within you. And when your heart is no longer driven by fear, but guided by wisdom, you discover a beautiful truth the Buddha understood long ago. What is truly meant for you will never pass you by, because it will arrive exactly when your mind is ready to receive it. If these Buddhist teachings have brought a little more peace into your life today, consider subscribing and joining us for more reflections on timeless wisdom. Until we meet again, may your heart remain calm, your mind remain clear, and may you walk your path with trust, compassion, and the quiet confidence that everything truly meant for you will find you at the right time.